Hello everybody, you have tuned in to Eric Jose on Making a Murderer on YouTube. I cover virtually any aspect of making a murderer. I go over the evidence, the documents, the photos. So if you like, stay tuned, and in the future I'll have many more videos besides the one you're about to see. Hello everybody, we're here today to talk a little bit more about exhibits of fear by agents of the state in terms of making a murderer. And, you know, the first video we talked about how terrified Ken Kratz got in the courtroom. Number one, when Jerry began to bring up the deleted voicemails in front of the jury. And then, while the jury was out of the room, when Judge Willis asked him about the voicemails and whether the state knew. The fear that you hear and see in Ken Kratz is palpable. It's yeah. So that's one instance. That's in the question of the deleted voicemails is still hugely valid, and what is the answer to that question? We still don't know to this day because Judge Willis didn't press. So that's going to bring us to this instance. This is from one of Zellner's latest filings, an affidavit filed by Jerry Buting himself, one of Stevens' defense lawyers. And the affidavit essentially states that the content of the Dassey computer, the forensic report, and the notes that went along with it, were never given to him. And basically, and this is the really crazy part, basically Ken Kratz put one piece of paper, a single sheet of paper, that said on it that there was a forensic report of the Dassey computer or whatever. And I have no idea how much other text it was buried in. I haven't seen this sheet of paper yet, but I have no idea how much other text was around this. I don't know how, but I can guess how much other text that this statement was buried in by looking at what they did with the forensic results of the Dassey computer. And that is, oh, you think it went into like evidence storage, like Calumet? Or no, this went into Fassbender's evidence storage solutions. He is now an evidence storage facility because he took that forensic report and all that stuff about the Dassey computer into his own personal custody so that it would not be in an evidence room for the defense lawyers to find when they were reviewing the evidence before trial. That is why, in my opinion, this is a very strong exhibit of fear on the behalf of Ken Kratz and Tom Fassbender, because they desperately wanted to keep this away from the defense. And the reason why is because if the defense had the results of that, they would have been able to offer up somebody else that could meet Denny, the strong threshold of Denny. It would have given them that ability to be able to say somebody else could have done it. And in a lot of ways, that might have been enough to create the reasonable doubt, or more reasonable doubt, in the jury's mind. If there's somebody else that can meet that high threshold. So, and I'm not saying that it means that whatever's on the Dassey computer means whoever is guilty. All I'm saying is that when a jury sees that there's two different possible parties that, you know, could have done it, and and they see how kind of unclear the prosecution is on the narrative, and I say unclear, and I'm being nice when I say unclear, but you know, they see that, so it would have mattered to them. It would have made a difference, I think, at least some small difference. The whole thing is that the thing that's important about this evidence and why it was hidden is because Kratz was worried. And the thing is, when you think about it, why should he be worried? He's already gone out and done a press conference that pretty much already caused the people watching it to believe that Stephen was guilty right in their own living rooms. He already had that. He's already pretty much polarized most of the jury pool already with that. Okay? And yet he's having to pull this shenanigans where he's trying to hide evidence and throws in a little flyer into the biggest batch of discovery that was sent over to the defense from the prosecution, the biggest batch during this case. And so we know there was a lot of forensic data. We know there was all kinds of stuff. We know that there must have been mountains of discovery coming over. Well, this was the biggest mountain. Okay, and in there is one sheet of paper. And like I told you, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to find out that the text that says that there is a forensic report about what was on the Dassey computer is buried in a bunch of other, on a page with a bunch of other text on it, to where I'm sure that it wasn't obvious. Even if you found that page, I'm sure it wasn't obvious. So anyway, it's to me showing the way that instead of just sending a copy of it over to the defense as part of discovery, they put in a piece of paper that says it exists and just slip it into the biggest batch of discovery and send it over, and then have Tom Fassbender hold it in his own personal custody so that Jerry Buting wouldn't find it when he was reviewing the evidence in the actual evidence storage rooms, where he would be going over the evidence, trying to see if there was anything he missed, being a diligent, and a good lawyer, a very good lawyer. Why is this one piece of evidence going into Tom Fassbender's personal custody? Why? It's just strange. All right, this is from Zeller's latest motion. Mr. Buting avers in his affidavit that neither the above-referenced CD nor Detective Veely's investigative report was turned over in discovery. The December 14, 2006 letter from Mr. Kratz likewise confirms by omission that neither document was disclosed to the defense in the batch of discovery. Mr. Buting likewise notes that Special Agent Fassbender's report indicates he did not book the CD or Detective Veely's report into evidence. Rather, the report states the disc received from Detective Veely as well as the hard copy pages of the instant message conversations were maintained in Special Agent Fassbender's possession, not in an evidence locker somewhere, secured. Thus, Mr. Buting did not observe the CD entitled Dassey's Computer Final Report, Investigative Copy, when he reviewed the evidence maintained in the Calumet County Sheriff's Office prior to the Avery trial. Clearly, they are up to some shenanigans here with Tom Fassbender taking that evidence into his own personal custody. So, that's part 2 of Exhibits of Fear from agents of the state of Wisconsin in regards to the Avery case, Avery and Dassey cases. Yeah, like I said, the way Kratz reacts in court to the deleted voicemails, which are highly curious, the way that they act over this particular piece of evidence, treating it like they treated no other piece that I've heard of, and oh, what could that evidence do? Oh, that evidence possibly could have allowed the defense to meet the Denny motion and offer another suspect besides Avery. And like I said, not talking about whether or not who's guilty or innocent in terms of what's on the Dassey computer. It's not about that. It's about the reasonable doubt that would have been able to be created alone in the jury's mind, especially listening to that, quite frankly, ridiculous narrative of the prosecution, because there's nothing to back it up. There's no crime scene. They talk about how this is a crime scene. There's no crime scene. Where did this happen? I'm curious to see what this, convicting a murderer is going to have to say. I truly am. Like I say, if it doesn't have its facts straight, if it's saying things that aren't true or things that can be disproved by case documents, it's going to get pointed out. So anyways, we'll have to see how it goes when Mr. Rech, R-E-C-H, when he gets his documentary, docuseries fully done, and he figures out who he's going to let, which platform he's going to allow to show it and all that, we'll have to take a look at it. I know a lot of people are going to take a look at it, and hey, if it's fair, it's fair. If it's not fair, and it's just basically, parroting all the stuff that Kratz and Fassbender have been saying, that me and many others have been disproving easily. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to, it's going to be interesting to see what this documentarian does and how he goes about this. Certainly, the state did get the short end of the stick in MAM. I will agree to that. I'll agree to that. But I don't know if this piece is just going to be completely, about the state, and completely pushing their whole deal. I just kind of can't help but wonder, because the state's story, the state's narrative has issues, and those certainly need. I would hope that the documentarian is going to be addressing that, but we'll have to see anyways. So that's it for today as far as part 2 for Exhibits of Fear from the Agents of Manitowoc and Wisconsin. And we'll see you guys. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe.